Welcome to Random Select. Please enjoy.
This is Mario again, and I would like to welcome you into another episode of Random Select. This week episode is going to be special, so I do want to warn everybody. This is only for mature audiences, so if you're not mature, please tune out right now. And today's topic is going to be about how far would you go to protect your kids from your kids? What would you do? And today's topic is solely motivated by Michelle Blair. She's the Detroit mother who was accused of and pleaded guilty to murdering two of her kids. Now, I know right off the bat you think that it sounds crazy. It's something that as a parent you would never do. But before we rush to judgment really quick, we're going to deep dive right into it and see, what drove her to this. So today I'm joined by a panel of people that we're going to discuss it. We have mothers in the group. We also have our normal co-host, Will, and we're just going to jump right into it. We're going to start out with Carlotta. She's been in psych for a number of years. She's a nurse, so she brings a unique perspective to it. We also have Valencia. She's a working mother of 5, also going to school, so she could definitely tell you what the balance is between working and trying to be there for your kids. We also have Gwendolyn. She's definitely a mother too, with a newborn baby pretty much. And we got Tawana. She has 3 kids as well. And this is the type of thing that we hope no one ever has to deal with, but since it has happened, let's talk about it. Let's get right into it. And I want to start with you, Valencia, since you have 5 kids. If you were forced with this, and let's just start it off by saying she was a mother who killed 2 of her kids because she found out that her 2 older kids were raping her younger 6-year-old child. So I open up the floor to you, Valencia. Before we get into the mental aspect of why she did this, just for shock value alone, how would you have handled it?
Let me first off say I don't condone what she did. I can't say what I will do until I'm faced with that situation. But as a mother, if one of my kids were to, if my youngest son Isaiah were to come to me and tell me that his older siblings had done something like that, immediately the older kids cannot stay in my house. I know me. I know my temper. It's one of those touchy situations. I don't condone what she did, but I can understand from a protective standpoint. Do I think she went too far? Most definitely. But it's just hard. I mean, this is one of those, there's no right or wrong answers. Only thing I can tell you from a maternal standpoint, those individuals could not stay with me. They could not be in my household, period.
Okay. All right. So we got your perspective on it. All right, Carlotta, I want to go with you. You've been in psych for a long time. Mm-hmm. How do you see this? Answer it from a mother standpoint first, and then kind of answer it from a professional standpoint. What do you think was going through this lady's mind?
From a mother's standpoint, I think there's something deeper going on here. We don't know the full story, and the people that could maybe tell you the full story are not here. It's hard for me not to judge it from psych because I see this stuff in psych all the time. And if it was me, I would have to report it and let the legal system deal with it. But from a psych background, there's way more going on that we don't know. This woman sounds normal when she's talking, but I see them sounding normal all the time, but they're crazy. And 2, kids just don't get up and do this stuff. Usually they were molested by somebody else that exposed them to this, and then they don't know how to handle it, so they turn around and start doing it to somebody else. So if those kids were alive to tell you, the girl has to tell you where it started from. Unless she was just schizophrenic or something like that, and it don't sound like she had psych issues, but somebody else started this process, because it sounds like she started molesting her brother, and then they were starting to do it to the little one. which means somebody else started on the girl. So we have to they have to look deeper to find out how is the mother connected. Who did she bring around them, or is there another family member? I just think it's other parts of the story that we're not hearing yet.
Okay, and that's true. It did. I mean, from the court records, from what she said, that's how it started off. That the older girl started messing with the 9-year-old, and then it kind of trickled down here from there. But I'm interested, Will, as a father, you know, how would you approach this? How would you feel about
I mean, I just don't know. I mean, because honestly, because you and I have joked about it before, and I've raised a daughter in a previous marriage. You have your daughters. I consider my nieces that. I joked that if anybody had dared touch one of them, I said, there'll be problems. I mean, it's simple as that. I mean, there'll be problems. This is coming from a guy who has no criminal background, who's relatively laid back, but I think I would have my bona fide snap moment if something ever happened to him. Now, I don't know how you can place that type of anger onto looking at your own kid. I think, as far as I'm concerned, I would feel at the bare minimum, as we said earlier in the conversation, you have to leave the house. You have to leave the house for my children's safety and for my sanity, because I don't know how I would react to that. I mean, it's bad enough at times, you just want to, at times you spank your child because they've done something wrong, just out of a pure sense of discipline. To have something like that happen to your child, and like I said, and I don't know just how far over the edge she was before all this happened, but depending on how close she was to the edge, that's not going to do anything but push you over the edge into the territory that she found herself walking through, which is no praise for us to see, but it's what happened.
All right, Gwendolyn, I want you to chime right on in here. How do you feel about it?
I don't think she's on.
Oh, okay. Cookie, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So, how do you feel?
I blame all the parents because they should have, you know, I blame all the parents because I think that they should have been in the kid's life and something wrong with the mother, like the other parents said. It's something going on that we it not being told in the story.
So you think that long before it got to the point where the country was learning about it, that something was going on. But I do want to preface the fact that I did read some more on this story, and in 2002, Child Protective Services did get called out to this lady's house for, accusations of child abuse. But the sheer audacity of what they said the girl did, as far as the menstrual pad and squeezing it into the boy's mouth, that's past the point of abuse. That's starting to hit up into really mentally ill territory. Don't you guys agree?
Yeah. It's either mentally ill or hatred. This girl sounded like she had deep hatred for that little brother, and it seems like maybe the mom had a preference for that little one over all of them, which goes into something else, with the fathers or whatever. But that was the only outlet for that girl to show her anger. It's not right, but there's something else going on.
But as a parent, how do you not know what's going on in your home? I mean, it's kind of hard for me to not interact and pay attention to if this person is quiet, if this person doesn't have this type of behavior. I think I will begin questioning, why are you so angry, and things of that nature, which, goes back to what Colleen was saying. Mentally, I think it's something wrong with the mom and the daughter and those relationships. So, I mean, as a parent, it's our responsibility to protect these children and nurture them. How can you not know? That's the mind-baffling part to me. She was saying that she didn't know her daughter was doing this to her son, and it trickled down. How do you not know?
Let me ask you this question. Now, we've all kind of been here. What if you're in a single-parent home, and you working, and you got 2 jobs, and you kind of counting on your older kids to kind of police, and you're not there, and when you do come home, you're tired, and sometimes, it's hard to get up and do certain things that's how come you delegate to the other kids.
And-
And what if they have created a culture where the kids are definitely scared of telling?
And as a parent, I understand what you're saying, Rico, because my kids have had to go through that. But it is still my responsibility as a parent not to put all of the pressure on the oldest ones and to make sure that there's still safety from the younger ones. I get it. I work sometimes 12 to 14 hours and then have to come home, do homework, and still have to run around with these kids. But it's still my duty and responsibility, because if the shoe had been on the other foot, if I had been the one doing that to them, then it would have been a no-brainer.
Okay, well, Carlotta, let me ask you this. From the sheer audacity of what happened from the girl and down to the boy, with the whole incident of the boy just deciding to piss on the boy, urinate on the boy, for lack of a better word. I mean, once you find this out, how do you get to the point where you decide you're going to do it to him and then keep him in the freezer for 9 months? I mean, at that point, psychologically, do you think she was already gone, or this pushed her to it?
I think she had psych issues from a long time ago, because a normal parent, if no matter what you found out was going on, you don't think just because you do it to this child, I'm going to go throw hot water on your penis in a bathtub. Nobody would think that with your kids. You love all your kids. So this woman, for some reason, felt that those kids were not really her kids. She called them demons. That just don't happen overnight. It sounds like she's had resentment for them from a long time ago, even though they're hers. So she sounds like she got some psych issues. And as I said, not every psych person sounds crazy. Some of them talk normal, but their views of how they see stuff in life is crazy. And as I said before, there's something else going on here where these kids most likely have felt that they were not loved from a long time ago. And they saw that maybe she had, because when you listen to her talk, she don't even talk about the big one. She don't express any love or anything about the big one. You would think all she has is that little boy. So it goes back to the dads. Are they separate dads? Which father, did she prefer one father over the other? And why does she have so much resentment for the big daughter? Because
Okay, with that being said, Will, if that was your kids and you were the father, would you feel any guilt as far as this? Would you feel like I should have stepped in? I could have did something different? Because these are your kids that have just been, killed, put in a freezer. And if you the other little boy and you're his father, are you making a push to get your child out the home?
This can even apply to me, because honestly, even in a perfect situation where myself and the baby's mother are both sane, functioning, citizens in society, I'm going to want to have some sort of custody, if not at least joint sole custody of my kid. And that's if I know my baby mama is a completely functional individual. If I know from what everything that says, as I've read the story says, what, like say, going back to at least that 2002 says, this woman has been not right for the better part of 10 years. I would have been in court somewhere getting my kids back. So we would have never even got to this point. Not like this. Something may have happened. I don't know what may have happened in those children's background to just get to the mind state those children were in, what they've seen to get to that point. But I just know that in my personal world, I said I would have been gotten my kids back, or my kids would even, I shouldn't say gotten them back. It would never been there if I've known she's been that imbalanced from the beginning. Because it doesn't make sense. That's it. And it just doesn't make sense at all to me. If you know the person you laid with is that bad, you got to do something to just, I don't know how, unless you're in jail yourself, it has to be something you can do.
Okay, what about the warning signs that she said the boy gave her about, You know, he had the stomach flu. His hind side was burning when he went to the bathroom. As a mother, would you just would have brushed that off, or would you start trying to look further into it? Either one of y'all can answer.
I
Well,
mean,
it seems like her point was she didn't connect everything together, but you don't need to connect it, because if he says his behind hurts, you're gonna check to see what's wrong with him, and then if he said he had they were peeing on him or something, it's just, the whole point is she has psych issues. And the question I wanted to go back to was, do the fathers even exist? That's one of the issues, because if
Yeah,
there's no support there.
I read that, at the end, right? This would make me wonder if she got psych issues. Toward the end when they was giving her like a sentencing date,
Mm-hmm.
and she was still worried about. She stopped the judge and said, "Hey, look, is that gonna affect my family court date?" And the lawyer had this look like, "You do know you ain't never seeing them kids again ever, so you shouldn't be worrying about this date, right?" And he told the judge, "No, that date is fine." So that means something's wrong with her anyway. She still feel that she may have a chance of getting these kids.
Right. I saw that part, and I was like, no matter what other court you go to, this is the biggest one you're going to be in, and you won't be back out. So that does show you right there that she's not right in the head, because she's worried about 2 other court dates.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. And the lawyer like whispered to her, and I would imagine he had to be thinking, "Wait a minute, is something wrong with you? You ain't never seeing these kids ever again." You
And
know,
you're not going to walk free to go to family court. This is way higher than family court. So, but we will find out more, because I think the big girl is the one that they really need to start questioning, and I'm sure they will when to go further with this case, because there's more to this story, and somebody started the abuse off somewhere.
okay, well, Cookie, let me ask you this: you got multiple kids, and if one of your kids would have came to you and said that, "Hey, look, so and so is pissing on me at night," how would you handle that?
I mean, you just can't go by the words of what a kid say. Sometimes you have to investigate and make sure that you know.
You don't think somebody saying that somebody's peeing on you, urinating you, is far out there to be making up?
I mean, some kids, make up stuff just to get attention. I don't know what was going on in her household to make the kids act out like that. I guess because the father wasn't in their life. I don't know.
Okay, if you was the 13-year-old girl, the one who got, who she killed and put in the freezer as well, after you seen her do this, choke her brother basically, and you help her put her in the freezer, you continue to rape the boy 9 months after the first boy was in the freezer. Does that mean that there was psych issues all the way up and through the household?
Or
I mean,
dysfunction.
Yeah.
at that point, said that has to be a given. I mean, you just don't get. I mean, like I think we've all said it. Let's say at some point, there's a seed somewhere that got planted somewhere back that hasn't been touched on in the story, and you just because I said just for. I mean, children in and of themselves are blank slates. I mean, we always talk about children. No child is born racist, born to hate, born to do anything else. So to come up with the things that even by our adult measures are appalling to us, let alone for children to be doing it. Somebody planted that seed somewhere, inadvertently, purposely, whatever you want to call it. But that's just not something you do as a child from just raised in a bubble. You would never think of that.
Right. And if that girl, all she knew was dysfunction,
Mm-hmm.
it's normal to her. Other
Right.
people would look at it and say, why not just go tell the police what you see your mom's doing? She's conditioned. All she knows is her environment is what she knows. To her, it's normal. She don't think that other houses possibly live different, because all she saw was the dysfunction lifestyle with her mom. So she's gonna just sit there and keep doing what she's doing, and it's normal to know there's somebody in the freezer. All they know is maybe don't tell, but you're not thinking, let me go report this to the police. And that's what kids do when they're in abusive situations, whether it be physical or psychological. They don't know, they don't want to tell. They stay there. They don't have enough common sense to say, let me go report this. And that's why so much people sit there with abuse and it don't come out until they grow up.
And I get that part, that she might not want to tell, but to continue to molest the boy when the other one is in the freezer.
That's all she know. That's all she know. And you have to also think about it, that when it comes to sexual abuse, even though she's doing all this evil stuff, she's getting something back from the fact that this is where I got my power. Maybe she's angry at the mom, so this is where she feels satisfied to get back at somebody. Plus, also, part of the dysfunction of sexual abuse with kids is that they do get some kind of pleasure out of it. It's dysfunctional, but they do get some kind of pleasure, and they don't know how to process and separate the two. So she's at the age where she's sexual, so it does something for her, and it's also dysfunctional. She don't know how to deal with it. So she's going to continue doing it because it's normal in her mind, and also that's her only power in that house, because it seems like mom ran everything, and that was her outlet to feel like she could get back at the mom.
Okay, Valencia, you have 5 kids. Strictly from just a mother standpoint, I mean, it has happened. At this particular point, you found this out, and you said that they cannot live in the house. What do you do going forward to the boy that's the victim? What's the course of action from there?
Counseling. But that's going to be the first thing, counseling, because what's going to happen is he's either going to start doing that somewhere else, to somebody else possibly. It's going to cause other issues in my home, with his peers. I mean, it's a ripple effect. It's horrible. I mean, and I'm just thinking as of right now, trying to envision myself in that situation. I would have to put not only him in counseling, but the rest of them in counseling as well, because it's going to affect my entire household.
All right, Cookie. So my question to you would be, now that you have this person in counseling, you have 2 other kids potentially that CPS, Child Protective Services, has taken out your household. At this point, do you feel like you failed as a mother because one of your kids is mentally messed up, 2 of them are taking out the whole house? I mean, how are you feeling as a mother at this point? Hello?
I'm here. I'm sorry.
How do you feel? Are you feeling like you failed as a mother, or what's going through your mind at this point? All right, we'll pass that to Carlotta. Carlotta, how would you feel at that point?
I don't think I would feel like I failed, because what I've learned over the years is no matter how much you raise a child, they have their own personalities. It depends on exactly what you did as a mom, because we don't know what was going on, because you don't know who's watching the kids. Most of the time, abuse happens because you got all these dysfunctional people in the house watching them, new boyfriends, whatever. But for me, you would feel a guilt because you're not there to watch them 24/7, but you have to get over it and just deal with what's going on at the moment. And unfortunately, counseling alone wouldn't help. This is way deeper. I'm saying if it was a situation where the kids didn't die and she had to really do something about it, this is way past counseling, because these kids, if they didn't die, would grow up most likely and try to do it to other kids. So it's a hard call to make as to what would you do, but you would feel the guilt. I'm sure I would, because you always feel you want to be a good parent, but unfortunately we have to work. We can't be there all the time, and sometimes the people that you trust are not the ones that are the right people to be around your children.
Could you ever look at those kids the same? Let's say the kids weren't dead. Could you ever look at those kids the same? Would you still feel the same love that a mother would feel for a child, Valencia, if if those kids say they went to jail and came back rehabilitated, or they went to counseling, could you look at them or love them the same?
Oh, goodness, that's a tough question. I think as a parent, you never lose that love for your child, no matter the foolishness that they put you through or put the parents through. However, knowing me, it will always be second guessing. I will, have to second guess a lot of stuff. I don't think that trust would be there 100%. It would take some time for me to get over that, to kind of let them back into the same normal routine. Even in my household, I mean, it'd be really difficult for them to even come back into my home around other children, period.
What about you, Carlotta? Would you lose love for a child?
I wouldn't lose love, but you treat it the same way you treat family members with substance abuse. They could come close to a certain point, but you have to protect other people around you. You can't let them back in 100% because you never know when they relapse until when it's too late. So you can't trust them. We treat young people that sexual abuse people all the time. And it takes a while where they'll stop, and then they eventually try to do it again. So I would not let them back around any children in my house, and even if it's not my kids, I just know I would keep them at a distance if there was children in my environment.
Okay, how would you keep them at a distance? Let's say counseling was over with, Child Protective Services say, okay, we think they fixed, they got to come back to you since you are the parent, and you don't want them back. What do you do? Where do you think you go from there? Because you are responsible for them.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's a hard question because they still on the age you have to take them back.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You are responsible for them. So how do you move? How do you go forward?
That's a hard question, and the answer sounds crazy, but you would have to keep them separated. But what we usually do in psych is they give them hormones, to kind of shut down their sexual appetite. Does it work 100%? Not really, but you would have to turn to the system to help you because you can't police your household 24/7. You got to go out somewhere. So you would have to get the doctors involved. There's ways they treat them. I've seen a case on the job where the boy is 19 and he gets the urge to he wants to sexually abuse the kids in the neighborhood, and he tells his mom, so they bring him into the hospital. But what they do is they have to give him hormones to stop his sexual. He doesn't feel anything sexually because once you kill the hormones that make you get that sexual mood, then they think it makes him lose interest. But still, if I lived on that block, I'd be scared. So if they are underage and you have to keep them, all I can say is you got to have 24/7 protection in the house to keep it, and it's impossible. It's a hard answer to give.
Okay, Will, as a man, and we always feel that we should protect our household. We should be, the head of it. If you had children that you had to protect from other children, and you had to, no other way around it because they're underage, where would that put you?
I mean, honestly, and I'm saying this making assumptions, but it's all you can do with this particular scenario. I'm hoping that, God forbid, it's gotten to this stage where everything that's happened has happened. All that, you're saying that, all the events have happened, short of death that have happened. You got to basically call your entire family together. I mean, the extended family. I mean, all the aunts, uncles, grandma, grandpa, cousins, heck, the friends of the family, whatever. You got to basically you got to ask fellas, like like I said, you as a parent, you're not going to be able to be there 24/7. Even if you wanted to say, just go completely, off out the box and say you're gonna put your 12 or 13-year-old into daycare or something to cover the work hours that you can't be there. There's just gonna be times when you're just going to need just that extra set of eyes, and then with all of that even being said, you still have to restructure your household to function with that, because from looking at the story, I said it looks like the two, you got the two older girls and the two younger boys. and they both there's the one father's for the girls, one father for the boys, and it looks like you couldn't keep them, you couldn't you could keep them in the same house, but you would have to put everyone in separate rooms. You had to even get a house to where you stuck your room in the middle or something, or you put somebody at the bottom and somebody at the top. But it's just that's just a whole lot of moving parts to deal with. I mean, even to the point where you might have to send two of them to live with grandma or something, and just kind of rotate in and out, just so you can love all your children in the same way and have interaction with them. But you just know realistically, you can't put them near each other. I mean, it's court danger.
Okay.
Our part of the safety thing is you have to ask the state to step in, and they have to remove the older ones. They do have facilities that will keep them and treat them, and they can visit and everything, but they just don't live there.
Okay, so going forward, if these kids were released on the world, let's say they're 18 now, and they going forward onto the world, do you still worry about them, or as a parent you say, out of sight, out of mind, or they ain't my problem, because you still worrying about the victim of this? I mean, going forward as a parent, because you forever got your kids in your thoughts and prayers, no matter how old they get. How do you deal with that, Valencia?
That's hard. I mean, that's hard because you don't want what happened to your child happen to anybody else's child. So, God, that is just extremely difficult. That's where you can't. It's no such thing as out of sight, out of mind. I mean, I understand as children become older, when they become of legal age, then we tell them for every action there's a consequence, be ready to deal with it. But and I'm just thinking, in that situation, if that were to happen to me, I would be on pins and needles every freaking day, worried about getting a phone call that this may have happened to somebody else's child. And it would then make me think, well, what resources are out there? And you don't want to commit your child and have your child locked away. But honestly, to me, that may seem like the best thing. Honestly, just to put them in a center, and I don't even know if this is even available or possible, but you will almost have to just lock them away in some type of rehab center where they can't interact with regular people.
They can be placed in facilities and be treated, but by the time they're 18, you
Right.
can't keep them anymore. They're going to be put in society. And the thing is, there's millions of people walking around that are trying to fight this feeling right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just these two kids if they were alive. So you just got to put your energy into protecting your kids, because they are walking around every day. We just don't know, because we see them come back over and over. They live in all their regular neighborhoods.
I believe you. I mean, it is just one of those things where you want to, as a parent, we know we can't have 24-hour protection on our children. It's difficult for me to even let my 15-year-old go to the mall and my 17-year-old go to the mall, because I'm so worried about other people. Not necessarily them, but it's just in general. It's just one of those things. This is just a difficult, once they are released from the facilities after having the treatments and things of that nature, who's to say if they don't take their medication? Who's to say if they don't continue to go to the sessions and things of that nature? Then the cycle starts all over again.
Okay, well, let me, and then we'll try to wrap this up in a little bit, but let me just say that the way that the kids were found, that I was reading, was that she was off babysitting for someone else, and they was coming to evict her from her apartment, and found the kids in the freezer doing, I guess, the sheriffs or somebody was coming to evict, and that's how they found the kids, and that's how she eventually got found out, which goes back further to the point that maybe this woman did have some psych issues, and whether that this happened to that boy or not, that means that at some point she was primed to do something crazy from the get-go. It was like she just needed an excuse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she had no remorse in killing. I don't even think she looked at it as killing. All she's focused on is protecting my baby.
That's it.
You know.
Just one child. She just kept
Hmm.
referencing the younger child. So I agree.
Hmm.
I agree there were some psychological issues with the mom, and it trickled down,
Hmm.
throughout that the oldest daughter, and to cause her to do those things, because we have to remind ourselves as parents, our children do what they see, and if they find comfort in that. And I think when I say comfort in that, back to what you were saying, that the daughter felt as though this was normal, the sexual behavior was normal. For mom to have the little boy in the freezer, this is normal. Had that been a normal child, they would have went to school or told somebody something. It would have not gone on this long. But because of the behavioral patterns that's within that home, unfortunately, the child became a product of her environment.
Mm.
And to continue to do it 9 months after the first child was in the freezer, you still continued to rape and molest the boy.
Because she was a product of her environment. Because in her head, that's normal.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, because and I'm after listening to everyone's comments, I'm thinking about going back, listening to what she was saying. As she was standing up there with the judge, I mean, she was just like, I did it. No
Hmm.
remorse, and like literally she turned around to one of the reporters. It looked like she was about to go off on the reporter when she may ask the question if it may have happened or not. So I mean, it's a sad case. God in heaven knows it's really sad. No child, no one, period, should have to be subjected to that. But as a parent, it's difficult to really say 100% what you will do in that environment. Me personally, I don't think I would snap and kill my children. I may lay my hands on them a couple of times, out of anger. But again, and I have to just remind myself, I'm gonna have to walk away and just understand that this is going to be CPS is going to be involved. I'm going to be up on the investigation. My name, my reputation, my other kids possibly are going to be taken away. So this is a lot to take into consideration.
Okay. Well, all right. Going forward, one last question, and then we'll try to wrap this up. Does this really make you see different talking to your kids about certain things, or will this make you look at your kids different, or how will this, affect your household going forward? As far as how kids like to hang out with each other, or how brothers like to roughhouse and play with each other. I mean, will this make you look at your living situation any different?
No.
Well, I would
Yeah.
say for me, it would just make me just be a little bit more aware of what's going on. I don't think it would change, but I would just pay attention more to my kids. And I don't think I have anything to worry about because my kids are really close with one another. But it would just cause me to have that open line of communication a little bit more, even when I'm tired and don't want to be bothered. Instead of saying, hey, go talk to your sister or your brother, I need to have that open line of communication with them at all times.
What about you, Colada?
I think with your kids, you know your kid's personality. You could sense when one kid has resentment towards another. You could pick up on what's going on if you look long enough. So I think it's not really you have to watch your kids. If you, I think the issue is you more have to watch the environment around them, who you're bringing around them. But I think she could have picked up if she was a normal mom without psych issues. She could have picked up on a lot of stuff before it got to this point.
What about you, Cookie? Does it make you look at stuff different?
Well, I mean, I try. I don't want my kids to hang. I don't let them go to different people's houses and stuff. I mean, yeah.
Will?
I mean, for me, no, because I mean, most of I, let's say I grew up in a household where it was. I said, you could I could go play in the yard with my friends and stuff and play in the street, but I said I couldn't go into no one's house until my mom or dad or somebody talked to some other adult in the house and figured out, you know, is anybody crazy? Can you be over there and all that stuff? And that's stuff I do now. So I mean, I said, so I just don't. This is just so far out the box. I said the only thing I can say is that her her being crazy throws a monkey wrench in everything, but also the fact that the classic warning signs you see if you don't have your kids in an environment where you may be looking at those warning signs. I mean, like For instance, you always hear, if your child's playing little league or something, or taking some sort of, you know, piano lesson or something like that, if you hear certain things just because of the nature of something they're doing or something at school, you'll go to associate certain warning signs with, let me see, let me ask him if the teacher's, doing something to him or her, or, the coach is messing with him or her, or something like that. There's just nothing in your brain that's going to click until it's probably too late to say, let me ask you if your brother or sister's doing this to you. I said, that's just not common. I mean, this whole situation from top to bottom is just something that just doesn't fit in anything else that goes on within normal society.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, we're gonna leave it right there. We're gonna wrap it up. I just want to thank everybody for listening to the Random Select. If you would like to leave questions for anybody that was on the panel today, you can leave them at randomselect@gmail.com. That's select with 2 T's. Or you can leave a comment on our Twitter page, Random Select with 2 T's at Twitter. And once again, want to thank Valencia, Carlotta. Want to thank Gwen, even though she cut out. Want to thank Tawana. And as usual, want to thank Will. And until next time, people.
You have been listening to Random Select. Thank you. Goodbye.